You may be, and however you may be making this part of your day. Thank you so much. I'm Doug Gottlieb, filling in for Colin Cowherd, alongside the super talented Joy Taylor, who has no plans for the weekend. No plans. I like that. God, I yearn for that. No plans for the weekend. What does that feel like? Just you and Earl and just chilling?
Yeah, we'll probably go to yoga.
Yeah.
Might go see a movie or get dinner or just chill.
I coach. I know Earl has an AU program. He does stuff in Kansas City as well as doing stuff in Southern California. We have a program as well as I help coach my son in baseball. Like literally just with my son, he's got, rain notwithstanding, 2 basketball games Saturday, 1 Sunday, and 2 baseball games Sunday. Then the girls like, that must be amazing. That must be amazing. Amazing. No plans.
When your kids were at summer camp, you complained every day.
I didn't complain. That I missed them?
Yes.
Oh, no. I missed them. I didn't want them to go to summer camp. You're right. It's a good point. I fight to get them going to summer camp and miss them. I'm just saying it's got to be awesome to wake up on a Saturday. And trust me, I'm also Jewish. I'm allowed to complain all the time. it's part of the DNA. But you're right. I'm not saying I want a day off all the time, but just the ability to just go like, I got nothing to do.
I'm here working this morning.
I didn't say you don't work. I didn't say you didn't earn your weekend. You do. And then tomorrow it's supposed to rain. Be an amazing day to just go do yoga, come in, flip on some ball, watch it on Fox Sports 1. Amazing day. There's always one reason behind why some things happened, right? One reason behind some things happen. Like there has to be that one reason. A couple is together, and then all of a sudden you see online, you read online that a couple that you thought was happy is no longer together. You're like, somebody cheated, right? Right? There's a really, really, really nice house on the market that's under the value, and it hasn't been sold forever. You're like, oh, somebody had to be killed in there, right? Like something bad had to. It's got to be some sort. It's not is it feng shui or feng shui? I'm going to go with feng shui. Feng shui.
Feng shui. Yes.
Feng shui. It's not like bad feng shui, which is you're not supposed to face to the west, right? Sun's not supposed to set on the front door of the house. I don't know. It's not just bad juju. There has to actually been something bad happen within that house. Maybe there's foundation issue. There's something bad there. Like you walk in, does it smell like a dead body in here? Like I'm going to pass. There's always one reason. And yesterday, the breaking news first was Kyler Murray is apparently 5'10" and an eighth, only to be trumped. It was like we were doing news topper. Guys do this all the time, Joy. Women don't do this where they play like topper. Like I once caught a fish this big, and the next guy's I caught a fish this big, and the next kid I caught a fish this big. This is how we've gotten to 22-inch rims, right? 18-inch rims used to be the rims, then 20-inch rims. Now it's 22. Pretty soon they're giving me like 70-inch rims on cars. It's a guy thing. It's got to play topper. Even though even though people will say size doesn't matter, guys, like I don't believe that for a second. It was news topper yesterday, right? It's like Dwayne Wade hits a shot, then LeBron hits a shot, then Kyler Murray's 5'10" and an eighth, and then we had Jason Witten, who unretires and goes back to the Dallas Cowboys. But it doesn't make any sense. Like, I get he wasn't good. There's no one who was like, Jason Witten killing it at the new gig. But you're going to get better. You don't get progressively worse if you're willing to take some feedback. And they worked together longer. They weren't going to break up the Monday Night Football booth. You ask anybody at ESPN, they were caught by surprise. Like Jason Witten is a Ring of Honor, possible Hall of Fame player. I do love the fact that he was like now, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, I don't know if that's totally the case, Jason Witten. I think it is, but I don't know it is. Like he was never as good as Tony Gonzalez. He wasn't Shannon, frankly. He wasn't, you go through the litany of great tight ends. He was really, really good for a really long time, and it probably gets him into the Hall of Fame. I think it would have helped had he stayed as a broadcaster. But he's a Ring of Honor guy in Dallas. He is a Cowboy. He caught 63 balls 2 years ago, and then surprisingly, after signing a contract extension, walked away to join the Monday Night Football booth. And look, that is a lifetime appointment. I don't know it's only a 4-year contract, but you don't go from being in the Monday Night Football booth to not doing any sort of TV. And it's not Your knees are fine, your back's fine, your hips fine. There's no CTE from being in a booth. Like, it's a pretty good gig. So to walk away from it to go back to the Cowboys doesn't, to me, signify he just missed football. Of course he missed football. Of course you missed playing in front of 80, 90,000 people and playing with the star in the side of your helmet, playing for the most valuable sports franchise in the United States. Like, yeah, I understand you missed it, but did you miss it to the point of actually wanting to give up one of the top 4 gigs in television to go play 16 weekends, 2 preseason games, and maybe a postseason game or 2 in the National Football League? That only happens if there's something else to it. And I think we found the something else to it. He's the coach in waiting. Look, when I heard it, when I read it, Schefter tweeted about it, I was like, eh. I heard Matt Mosley, who writes for the Dallas Morning News. He said this on my radio show.
This gets him out of the booth, into the Cowboys locker room where he's more comfortable, and then we can see if Jason Witten becomes the future head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Whoa. Mm-hmm. I said, whoa, hold on. I actually think he's better off in the booth where he can meet with other teams, watch the entire league. But he did that for a year, and now he's kind of player, coach, mentor. Remember, they got John Kitton as the quarterback coach. He used to play with Witten. They have Kellen Moore as the new offensive coordinator. He's been the backup quarterback with Witten. And the only bright, shining star on that coaching roster is Chris Richard, came over from Seattle and did a great job. And everyone knows he's a head coaching candidate, just not in Dallas, right? Because he's not a Cowboy. Like, he checks all the boxes of what Jerry wants. Played for the Cowboys, star for the Cowboys, no off-the-field nonsense, kind of into the Cowboy way, went out for a year, came back, super, super loyal to the Cowboys. Like, kind of makes a lot of sense. And the Cowboys have done this before. Go back to 2013, all 3 coordinators, Bill Callahan, Monty Kiffin, even the special teams coordinator, had all worked for John Gruden. And John Gruden was the guy in waiting. And if Jason Garrett fell short, he would have been the guy. Now John Gruden's not out there. There is no other, Lincoln Riley. Hell, if Lincoln Riley wanted to coach in the NFL, he could have done it this year. Plus, Lincoln Riley's not a Cowboy guy. Not a Cowboy guy. And his style of offense, that doesn't fit with Dak Prescott. Witten has a relationship with Dak, has a relationship with guys in the locker room as players, respected in the front office, respected down the coaching staff, because those are former teammates who all know how he operates. Like, this all makes a whole lot of sense when you consider there's got to be that one reason. Right? There's always one reason why a very happy couple abruptly calls it to an end. There's always one reason that a guy wants to. You guys ever go to Lease Trader or Swap-A-Lease, right? That's where you can actually you can pick up somebody else's lease on a car, right? Like, that only happens because a guy loses his job or moves, has to change jobs, right? Like, that's why you get out of a lease on a car. Like, these things only happen for one reason. And the only possible explanation why you would give away a lifetime appointment, one of the 4 best chairs. And look, it's not the Fox one because we have the Super Bowl this year. It's not the CBS one. That one's not open. That's why I told people Romo's never leaving. No, he's not leaving. Now, he might leave and go to another network if they don't want to pay him. But you're not leaving that big. You're not leaving in college coaching. They tell you, don't leave the best job in your league unless it's for the best job in another league. You don't leave being an analyst on Monday Night Football to be a tight end with the Dallas Cowboys, and an aging tight end who no one knows if you have anything left. Joy, you asked the question to start the day, and I don't know the answer to it. I don't know anybody does. Like, what's he actually going to look like in a football uniform?
Right. Well, I mean, like, everything you just said is why I was surprised about it, because if you're going to choose to retire and leave the NFL and you get to go right into the Monday Night Football booth, that's the gig you're doing now. Like, that's what you do now. You do Monday Night Football. And now, obviously, that job is much more difficult than people realize. And that's not, I don't host Monday Night Football. This job is not as hard as it is to host Monday Night Football. So I get it being overwhelming. But you've not played football for a year. That matters. You're a position that gets hit from time to time. That matters. To me, how you looked at the end of your career is kind of irrelevant. You just took a year off. Literally, we're sitting in the booth. So people who take a year off, we don't know what Le'Veon Bell's going to look like a year off.
And he's in his athletic prime. $17
million guaranteed.
Right, but he's in his athletic prime, right? Like, again.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know what he's going to look like. People are concerned about what he's going to look like. And it's not that you're expecting some high level of production from Witten, but that's more of my concern. But I agree with you. I thought that Kellen Moore was really the one who was in the pipeline for the head coaching job if they move out Jason Garrett. And now it's kind of looking like this is, you know what it feels like to me in a less dramatic and, messed up way that the Josh McDaniels situation played out. But it kind of feels like that.
Yes.
It's like you took this huge position. Now, Witten obviously
Josh McDaniels would only come back if he had a promise, right? There's just one reason.
Because it just doesn't make sense. Why would you pass up an opportunity to work with Andrew Luck at an organization that has championships and to stay in another position unless you had some sort of guarantee? Now, obviously, Josh McDaniels handled it very poorly, and we all know that. But that's kind of what it feels like to me. Like, what were you told? Because for one more year?
Yeah. Listen, look, this happens in the NBA draft where a guy works out, all of a sudden a guy shuts down his workouts. You only shut down your workouts after one or two workouts. If somebody said, we're going to draft you, shut it down. Well, we promise we will take you, right? If you get a promise. And the promise, there is, there's no, nothing legally binding to that. But when you're a Cowboy, and I get that it felt like maybe Kellen Moore, the problem with Kellen Moore is he never played, right?
Right, but he has been coaching, though. Yes,
but the having played, I think, automatically creates credibility within the locker room. And I think Jerry, and remember, all the managers with Jerry, he played for Jerry, and then I think within the locker room, he played with those guys. And in all fairness, he was probably too fair and too soft.
Kellen Moore played with the Cowboys.
He was on the Cowboys.
I mean, right, but he was there. Like,
no, I understand. One guy is a Cowboy Hall of Fame.
Right.
And the other guy's on the team.
I understand the difference, but I'm saying logically, he played for the Cowboys and he's literally been coaching, and he's going to be the offensive coordinator this year. So he is literally more qualified for this position than Jason Witten would be if that was the decision that you were going to make. And I'm not saying any of this is malicious. Right. Like, if this is what the Cowboys are planning, to me, it would make more sense to do something to put someone in that position who actually has the experience.
Well, this will give him, it's different kinds of experience, right? Because what you do as a head coach is not what you do as a play caller. I mean, just not. I mean, really, in comparison to,
But what you do as a player is not what you do as a quarterback's coach or play caller.
No, but you do. He's been coached by enough guys. He's played long enough and now covered it. I actually think he rounded himself off pretty well. Would I prefer him to go and coach for a year or whatever? I guess. But either you can or you can't. And Jerry, I believe, has determined he can do it. If you surround him with enough guys, you surround him with the right guys, which is what they're doing with the Kellen Moore and the John Kitna. Like, John Kitna's never coached before, but now all of a sudden you get him as a quarterback coach. Why? Because he played long enough. And when you're a backup quarterback, you're essentially a quarterback coach. Like, I feel like we now know the reason. The more we stop and take a look, it doesn't make any sense to leave one of the great jobs in all of television unless there's a promise being made. And it feels like that's what happened. More on Jason Witten returning to the Cowboys, plus why Bryce Harper might have made the wrong decision, even if it is a very, very financially beneficial one. That upcoming next. But first, men, I'm just like you. I want more energy, more strength, more drive. That's why I take M-Drive every day. It's made by a family-run business. The father, Gary, is a world-class scientist that made this supplement called M-Drive to keep himself feeling like he did in his 20s and his 30s to stay active.